The stars shone bright against the deep black of space as the Zakarian scout ship moved silently through the outer edges of the human colony system. The captain of the vessel, Kira, watched the small blue planet grow larger on her view screen. Her 6 limbs twitched with excitement at the discovery. This would please the Empress. For centuries, the Zakarians had ruled their sector of space unchallenged. Their technology far surpassed any other species they had encountered. Most were primitive, barely able to harness atomic energy. The Zakarians, with their matter conversion drives and quantum shields, saw themselves as the rightful rulers of all they surveyed. Then came reports of a new species expanding from a yellow star system. Humans. They called themselves. The reports concerned the Empress. These humans moved quickly, establishing colonies on worlds the Zakarians had marked for future expansion. Captain Kira had been tasked with assessing the threat level of this new species. Her orders were clear: observe but do not engage. The human colony below bustled with activity. Kira could see the settlement through her ship's advanced sensors. Small dwellings arranged in neat rows surrounded by agricultural fields. The humans appeared, industrious if technologically primitive. Their ship still used chemical propulsion for the most part. Though some showed signs of early fusion technology, they are no threat to us, Kira thought. Her mandibles clicked in amusement. On the planet below, Diane Baker tended to her garden outside the main settlement of Hope's Landing. The 30-year-old botanist had left Earth 3 years ago, seeking a fresh start on one of the new colony worlds. She pushed her brown hair from her eyes and looked up at the clear blue sky. Strange, she thought. I could have sworn I saw something move up there. She shrugged and returned to her plants. The new hybrid corn she had developed was showing promising results in the colony's soil. It might help solve their food production challenges in the colony's small command center. Beth Wilson frowned at her sensor display. Something had triggered the primitive detection grid surrounding the planet. The colony leader was in her 40s with dark skin and a no-nonsense attitude that had earned her the respect of the 5,000 colonists under her care. Mary, get me a visual on grid sector 7. Please, Beth called to her assistant. The young technician tapped at her console. The main screen flickered, showing only stars. Nothing there, ma'am, Mary replied. Maybe just a glitch in the system. Beth nodded, but her frown remained. The detection grid was new technology still being tested. It used quantum fluctuations to detect mass and energy changes in nearby space, and it had never given a false positive before. Keep monitoring, Mary. I want to know if it triggers again back on her ship. Kira had completed her scans of the human colony. Their technology was primitive as expected, their weapons mainly projectile, based with some basic energy weapons for defense. Their ship slow and clumsy by Zakarian standards, but something troubled the captain. The humans expanded quickly. Their adaptive nature allowed them to colonize worlds that even Zakarians found challenging, and they bred rapidly. A single human female could produce multiple offspring in her lifetime. Given time, they might become a problem. Kira sent her findings to the Zakarian homeworld via quantum relay. The transmission would reach the Empress instantly, despite the vast distance between stars. Then she settled back to continue her observations. 3 days later, the response came. Kira stared at her orders in disbelief. The Empress had determined that humans represented an unacceptable future risk to the Empire. The rapid expansion of their colonies, their adaptability, and their resource consumption patterns indicated they would eventually compete with Zakarian interests. The orders were explicit. All human colonies were to be eliminated. The species contained to their home system until a final solution could be implemented. Kira had never questioned orders before. But genocide. This was not the Zakarian way, or at least she had not believed it to be. She sent a response questioning the directive only to receive an immediate and stern reply. The decision was final. Kira would lead the first strike against the human colony she now observed. A battle fleet was already on its way on Hope's Landing. Diane worked late in her laboratory. The new corn hybrid showed remarkable resistance to the planet's native fungi. She carefully documented her findings for the next supply ship to take back to Earth. These discoveries could help feed millions. Beth Wilson sat in her office reviewing the colony's expansion plans. They would break ground on a new settlement area next month. Families would have new homes before winter. The colony thrived, and Beth felt pride in what they had built here so far from Earth. Neither woman noticed the small changes in the night sky as 20 Zakarian warships dropped out of hyperspace. Captain Kira stood on the bridge of the lead destroyer. She had been transferred from her scout ship to command this mission. The weight of her orders pressed down. On her begin targeting the primary settlement, she ordered, her voice flat. Her crew moved efficiently, identifying power centers, communication arrays, defense installations. On the planet, Beth Wilson was awakened by blaring alarms. The detection grid was lighting up like nothing she had ever seen. "Get everyone to the emergency shelters now," she shouted into her communicator. "Mary, get me the defense ministry on Earth," but the quantum communication array exploded before Mary could reach it. The first Zakarian energy weapon struck the colony center with surgical precision. Diane was running toward the central shelter when the sky turned purple with weapon fire. The ground shook. Buildings collapsed around her. She saw neighbors' children running, screaming. The colony's few defense turrets fired blindly into the sky, their projectiles useless against Zakarian shields in orbit. Kira watched the destruction impassively. Her duty was clear, her orders absolute. The primitive human weapons could not touch her ships, yet something felt wrong. The humans had shown no aggression toward the Zakarians. They had not even known of their existence. And now they died without understanding why. The bombardment continued for 3 hours, until sensors showed no human life signs remaining on the planet. Target eliminated, Kira reported to the fleet, then to the Empress. The humans on Hope's Landing are no more. What she did not report was how the final scans had shown the humans not fighting or fleeing, in their final moments, but gathering together, holding each other, comforting each other, showing a unity that disturbed Kira deeply. We moved to the next colony. She ordered her fleet, the coordinates already programmed into their navigation systems. Did not know that one small human ship had escaped during the chaos. A supply vessel that had been preparing to leave when the attack began. Its crew had witnessed the destruction, and now they fled at maximum speed toward Earth carrying news of the unprovoked genocide. Captain Kira had completed her mission, but she did not understand what forces she had just set in motion, or that humans, when threatened, would prove far more dangerous than the Empress had calculated. The small supply ship limped into Earth orbit, its engines nearly burned out from the desperate journey. Carol West gripped the control console, her knuckles white, her eyes red from tears and lack of sleep. The pilot had pushed the ship beyond safety, limits to bring the news home. Earth needed to know what happened to Hope's Landing on the bridge of Earth Defense Command. Admiral Kate Foster received the transmission from the supply ship. Her face grew grim as she watched the footage. The purple beams raining down from orbit, the colony buildings collapsing. The screams cut short. "I want verification," she said to her staff. "Run every test, find me. Proof this is real." She hoped it was some horrible mistake or hoax, but deep down she knew the nightmare was real. Within hours, the highest levels of Earth government convened an emergency session. The evidence was undeniable. An alien species had attacked without warning or provocation, and intelligence suggested 2 more colonies had gone silent. Humanity had encountered alien life before, small primitive species on distant worlds. Nothing sentient, nothing advanced. But now this. A technologically superior civilization that had chosen genocide as its first contact protocol. "What can we do?" Kate asked. During the crisis meeting, "Our ships are no match for what we saw in that footage." Around the table, scientists, military leaders, and government officials looked grim. The situation seemed hopeless. Then Dr. Ellen Rogers spoke up. She was the lead researcher at the Quantum Physics Laboratory, her mind one of the brightest on the planet. "We have the prototype," she said quietly. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. "The QED project," Kate asked, her voice barely a whisper. The quantum energy disruptor had been theoretical until recently. a weapon that could theoretically disable advanced energy systems by creating localized quantum field distortions. It was still in early testing, dangerous, unpredictable. But it might work against the alien shields. Ellen nodded. We have 3 working prototypes. They can be mounted on our newest frigates. It was a desperate plan, a suicide mission, but it was all they had. 5 days later, 3 ships prepared to depart. Earth orbit, the Valiant, the Defiant, and the Resolute. Their crews volunteers, knowing the slim odds of return. Kate Foster had insisted on commanding the Valiant herself. We are not going to win this war today, she told the assembled crews. But we will show these aliens that humanity does not die quietly. We will make them pay, and we will bring back information that might save Earth. Carol West had volunteered despite her trauma. She knew the colony systems better than anyone. Where the aliens might strike next. The young supply pilot stood on the bridge of the Defiant, now her eyes hard with purpose. The 3 ships accelerated out of Earth orbit using conventional drives. Once clear, they activated their experimental quantum slip engines. The stars blurred as they pushed toward the next likely target, New Dawn Colony, in the Zakarian fleet. Captain Kira received new orders. The human homeworld had been located. The Empress demanded its coordinates. Her scientists believed destroying the origin point would demoralize the species, making the elimination of remaining colonies simpler. Kira transmitted the data, but again felt unease. The humans at Hope's Landing had shown courage in their final moments. A species capable of such unity might not break so easily. Zakarian fleet changed course. They would regroup before striking Earth directly. 20 ships became 50 as reinforcements arrived. The firepower assembled could reduce a planet to molten slag. Kira toured her new flagship. The vessel dwarfed her previous command. Nearly 3 kilometers of advanced technology designed for one purpose: war. She inspected the weapon systems, the crew quarters, the engine room. Her 6 limbs carried her efficiently through the massive ship, yet her mind remained troubled aboard. The Valiant Admiral Foster received the transmission from Earth Defense Network. The alien fleet had changed course. Intelligence suggested they were gathering for a major strike, possibly against Earth itself. Change of plans, she told her captains. We cannot reach New Dawn in time to make a difference. We need to hit the alien fleet directly, while they gather, by Earth time, to prepare. Carol studied the data. They would be outnumbered, outgunned. The 3 human ships against 50 alien vessels. The odds were beyond impossible. But Kate had a plan. The QED weapons might work against the alien shields, and if they could capture an enemy vessel, the technology, the information, it might give Earth a fighting chance. The 3 human ships altered course, accelerating to maximum quantum slip, their engines straining beyond safe limits. They would reach the gathering Zakarian fleet in 36 hours. If the engines held, if they weren't detected first, on her flagship. Kira reviewed the battle plans. The assault on the human homeworld would be overwhelming. Hundreds of strike craft would target military installations first, then the planetary defense grid, then major population centers. The humans would have no time to organize, no chance to evacuate. Victory was assured. Yet in her private quarters, Kira found herself watching the footage from Hope's Landing again. The humans gathering together in their final moments. Not in panic, but in solidarity. Families holding each other, children being comforted by adults. Their final act one of compassion. Not fear. It was not the behavior of a primitive species. It showed a sophistication of emotion that rivaled the Zakarians themselves. Kira began accessing other data, the scout reports, on human expansion, their colonization methods, their treatment of indigenous life on new worlds. The evidence painted a different picture than what the Empress had claimed. The humans were careful in their expansion, respectful of existing ecosystems. They terraformed minimally, preferring to adapt themselves to new environments when possible. They were not the mindless locusts the Empress had described. A suspicion formed in Kira's mind. She accessed the secure Imperial database, searching for the original threat assessment that had led to the extermination order. What she found confirmed her fears. The data had been altered, key information deleted, reports rewritten to present humans in the worst possible light. The Empress had already decided. On genocide, the evidence had been manipulated to support that decision. As the highest-ranking field commander, Kira faced an impossible choice: follow orders or commit treason by questioning them. Either path would likely lead to her death, but one path would result in the extinction of an entire sentient species. The 3 human ships dropped out of quantum slip at the edge of the system where the Zicarian fleet gathered. Their sensors immediately detected the massive alien armada, 50 warships, arranged in attack formation. Preparing for the assault on Earth, Admiral Kate Foster surveyed the tactical display. This was suicide, but perhaps a necessary sacrifice. The alien vessels were enormous compared to the human ships, beautiful in their way, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent metal unknown to humans. Their designs curved organic, unlike the utilitarian human vessels. Prepare the QED weapons, Kate ordered. Target the nearest destroyer-class vessel, all power to forward shields. We go in fast, hit hard, and attempt boarding. If we can capture their technology, we give Earth a chance. The 3 human ships accelerated toward the alien fleet, still undetected, their small size and primitive energy signatures masked by the radiation from a nearby gas giant. On her flagship, Kira made her decision. She could not be complicit in an unjustified genocide. She began carefully accessing the fleet command network, subtly altering deployment orders, inserting small but critical delays into the attack sequence. Then an alert sounded. 3 small vessels approaching at high speed. The tactical officer identified them as human ships. The bridge crew turned to Kira for orders. "Captain." "Should we destroy them?" the weapons officer asked, his finger hovering over the control that would launch a barrage of energy weapons. Kira hesitated. The human ships were on an attack vector, their energy signatures fluctuating in an unusual pattern. Something was not right. "Wait," she ordered. "Let us see what they intend." Her order surprised the crew. Zicarian protocol demanded immediate elimination of any threat, but Kira's reputation gave her leeway. The crew obeyed, though some exchanged concerned glances. The moment of hesitation was all the human ships needed. The QED weapons fired. Brilliant blue energy lanced from the 3 human ships, striking the Zicarian vessels. The effect was immediate and devastating. Shields flickered and died. Power systems fluctuated. Weapons went offline. The QED weapons had worked better than anyone on Earth had dared hope. Kate Foster watched in amazement as the alien flagship went dark, its engines silent, its weapons inactive. "Now," she ordered. The Valiant accelerated toward the disabled Zicarian vessel, while the Defiant and the Resolute provided covering fire, targeting the engines and weapon systems of nearby alien ships. On her bridge, Kira fought to understand what had happened. Her beautiful flagship, once pulsing with power, now drifted. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows on the panicked crew. What was that weapon, she demanded of her science officer? The Zicarian scientist worked frantically at her station. "Impossible," she said, her voice trembling. "They created a localized quantum field disruption, specifically tuned to our power signature. They should not have that technology." Kira felt a new emotion. Respect. The humans had accomplished in days what should have taken decades. They had analyzed the Zicarian energy systems from brief battle footage and developed a countermeasure. Boarding craft detected, the tactical officer reported. Several small vessels approaching the main hangar. Kira made her decision. "We will not resist," she announced to the shocked bridge crew. "The humans have demonstrated ingenuity and courage. They have earned the right to be heard. This is treason." Her second-in-command hissed. "Perhaps," Kira replied, "but I will not participate in the unjustified extinction of a sentient species. The Empress has not been truthful about the human threat. I have seen the evidence before." Anyone could respond. The bridge doors slid open. Admiral Kate Foster entered, flanked by Marines. Their weapons were primitive by Zicarian standards, projectile-based, but effective at close range. The human admiral was shorter than any Zicarian. Her 2 arms and legs seemed fragile, her skin soft without protective chitin. Her eyes were striking, though blue and clear, and filled with determination. "I am Admiral Catherine Foster of Earth Defense Command," she announced, her voice translated through a device on her wrist. "I claim this vessel by right of combat." Kira stepped forward, noting how the human Marines tensed. "I am Captain Kira of the Imperial Zakarian Navy," she replied. "I wish to discuss terms." Kate had not expected this. She had anticipated resistance, a bloody battle for control of the alien vessel. The calm offer of discussion caught her off guard. "What terms?" she asked cautiously. Kira gestured to the view screen where the remaining Zakarian fleet was recovering from the initial shock. Of the QED weapons, several ships had regained partial power, their weapons charging. "I can prevent the destruction of your 3 vessels," she said simply. "In exchange, I ask that you hear what I have discovered about the orders that led to the attack on your colonies." Kate studied the alien captain, trying to read her alien features for deception, but she could not deny the tactical reality. Their advantage was temporary. The QED weapons had a limited charge, and once the alien fleet recovered, the 3 human ships would be destroyed. "Agreed," she said. "But be aware that Earth now has these weapons in production. Our world will not fall easily." Kira nodded, a gesture she had learned from studying humans. "I believe you. And I believe the Empress has made a grave error in judgment." Over the next hour, Kira shared what she had discovered. The altered reports, the fabricated threat assessment, the Empress's determination to eliminate potential competitors before they could emerge, the manipulation of intelligence to justify genocide. Kate listened, her expression growing darker with each revelation. The attack had not been a misunderstanding, but a calculated decision by the Zakarian leadership. The deaths at Hope's Landing had been entirely preventable. "What do you propose, Captain?" she asked finally. "Your fleet still outnumbers us, and your homeworld will send more ships when they learn of this encounter." Kira had considered this. The quantum disruption would be temporary. Her flagship would regain power soon. The human advantage would be lost. "I propose an alliance," she said, to the shock of both humans and Zakarians present. "I and those who follow me will help you defend your colonies and your homeworld. In return, you will help us remove the current Empress who has betrayed our most sacred principles, the prohibition against unprovoked extinction." It was a breathtaking proposal, treason of the highest order. Yet several of Kira's officers nodded in agreement. The attack on Hope's Landing had troubled many in the fleet. "You would betray your own people?" Kate asked skeptically. "I would save them from becoming monsters." Kira replied, "My loyalty is to Zakarian principles, not to a leader who has abandoned them." Carol West, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. "I saw what your weapons did to Hope's Landing," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "I watched children die. 5,000 innocent people. How can we possibly trust you?" Kira turned her compound eyes toward the young pilot. "I cannot undo what has been done," she acknowledged. "The deaths at your colony will forever be a stain on Zakarian honor. But I can try to prevent more deaths, both human and Zakarian. The Empress plans to attack your homeworld next. Billions will die. Unless we act." Kate considered their options. Earth's defenses were substantial, but not designed to repel an advanced alien fleet. The 3 prototypes had succeeded beyond expectation, but production of more QED weapons would take time. Time they might not have. "We need guarantees," she said finally. Kira moved to a console and input a series of commands. The main screen changed, showing the Zakarian battle network, the command codes, the deployment plans, the shield frequencies, the weapon specifications. "Everything Earth would need to defend itself, so this sufficient?" she asked. The human scientists present gasped at the treasure trove of technical data. It was everything they needed and more. While Kate and her team processed this information, Kira contacted the other ship captains in the fleet. Some resisted, but many had harbored the same doubts about their mission. To them, she sent the unaltered intelligence reports about humans showing their true nature. Not a threat, but a potential ally within. Our 17 Zakarian ships had declared for Kira. The others retreated to report to the Empress. The battle that many had expected never materialized. Instead, an unprecedented alliance began to form. Kate sent Carol West back to Earth aboard the Resolute. The ship carried the technical data and news of the alliance Earth needed to prepare for what was coming. The Empress would not accept this betrayal quietly. The remaining human ships and their new Zakarian allies began planning the first joint human-Zakarian fleet in history, united by a shared desire to prevent genocide. Aboard the flagship now designated Alliance 1, Kate and Kira studied star charts together. The Empress will send everything she has when she learns of this, Kira explained. Our advantage is time. The quantum relays are offline thanks to your weapons. It will take days for my ships to report what happened here. That gives us time to prepare. Kate agreed, but we are still outnumbered. Kira hesitated, then revealed one final secret. There are others, she said. Other species who have suffered under Zakarian expansion. Other captains who question the Empress. If we can reach them, it was a slim hope, but it was more than Earth had before the day began as Alliance. One and its escort fleet set course for Earth. Kate found herself studying Kira. The alien captain moved with a fluid grace despite her insectoid appearance. Her decisions showed both courage and principle. Qualities Kate respected in any species. Perhaps humans and Zakarians were not so different after all. On Earth, Carol West stood before the United Earth Council. The room fell silent as she described the alliance with Captain Kira and her followers, the technical data already being implemented by Earth scientists. The hope that had seemed impossible days ago. There will be war, she concluded. But we do not stand alone, and we have something worth fighting for. Not just survival, but the chance to forge a new future. A future where different species can coexist. Dr. Ellen Rogers approached the podium next. The QED weapons exceeded expectations, she explained. Production has been accelerated. We can arm our entire fleet within weeks. And with the Zakarian technical data, we can improve. Our shields, our engines, our weapons. The once hopeless situation had transformed. A slim chance had emerged. A chance that humanity would survive. And perhaps even thrive among the stars. As night fell over the emergency command center, Ellen studied. The stars through the window, somewhere out there. Alliance 1 raced toward Earth somewhere. The Empress prepared her response. Somewhere the future of two species hung in balance. But for the first time since the attack on Hope's landing, Ellen felt something new hope. The Zakarian Empress raged as the reports finally reached the homeworld. Her throne room trembled with her fury, the great crystal displays showing the extent of the betrayal. 17 ships lost to treason. The human homeworld warned and worst. Of all the technical data compromised, Captain Kira will die screaming for this treason, the Empress hissed. Her attendants cowered, keeping their distance from her famous temper. The Grand Admiral approached cautiously. My Empress, we have dispatched the Imperial fleet. 200 warships. The humans and the traitors will be crushed, but the Empress was not appeased. The humans should never have been allowed to develop the quantum disruption technology. She said their world should have been the first target, not the outlying colonies. A new voice spoke from the shadows. Perhaps this situation can still be salvaged. The Empress turned Ambassador Nex. She said with surprise, I did not summon you. The tall, slender Zakarian emerged from the shadows, her form more elegant than most of her species, her carapace gleaming with embedded jewels signifying her high status. She had served as the Imperial ambassador to many worlds before they were conquered. The humans are resourceful, Nex acknowledged, but they are also emotional. They value individual lives in a way we find inefficient. This can be exploited. The Empress gestured for her to continue. Let me take a small, fast ship to Earth. Next proposed, I will offer peace negotiations, a delay while the Imperial fleet positions itself for the killing blow. The humans will accept they are desperate for peace. They will grasp at any chance to avoid further bloodshed. The Empress considered the proposal. It had merit. The humans needed to be distracted, while the fleet maneuvered into position. "Very well, Ambassador." The Empress finally agreed, "But failure will result in your execution. Your family line will be erased from Imperial records." Nex bowed low, accepting the terms, then departed to prepare. For her mission on Earth, the transformation was remarkable. Factories worked around the clock implementing the Zicarian technical data. The QED weapons now in mass production, defense platforms upgraded with hybrid technology, human innovation combined, with alien engineering creating something new, something powerful. Alliance 1 arrived in Earth orbit. Kate and Kira standing together on the bridge as they approached the blue world. "It is beautiful," Kira said, her compound eyes taking in the oceans. "The continents, the swirling cloud patterns. I understand now why your people fight so fiercely to protect it." Kate nodded. "Earth is our cradle," she replied, "but perhaps not our destiny. The colonies were our first steps toward becoming something more." The two leaders had grown to respect each other during the journey to Earth. Their species might look different, but both valued courage, honor, and justice. Both were willing to sacrifice for principles larger than themselves. At Earth Defense Command, they met with the United Earth Council. The highest authority on the planet. Kate presented Kira formally. "This is Captain Kira of the Zicarian Navy," she said. "She risked everything to warn us of the attack on our homeworld. She has provided technical data that may save billions of lives. And she offers alliance against an empire that would destroy us without provocation." Kira stepped forward. "I cannot undo the harm already done to your people," she said, her translator conveying the emotion in her voice. "But I can help prevent further tragedy. The Empress has betrayed the founding principles of our civilization. We do not destroy sentient species. We do not commit genocide. These actions dishonor all Zicarians." The Earth Council was divided. Some saw the Alliance as their only hope. Others distrusted any Zicarian after Hope's landing. The debate continued for hours until Carol West asked to speak. "I saw the destruction of Hope's landing," she said. "I watched friends die. But I have also seen Captain Kira risk her life, her career, everything to prevent the same fate for Earth. We cannot judge an entire species by the actions of their leader. We humans should know this better than most." Her words swayed many on the council. The alliance was formally accepted. Kira and her followers granted asylum. Earth would stand with the rebel Zicarians against the Empire. 3 days later, sensors detected a small Zicarian vessel approaching Earth. It broadcast peace signals requesting diplomatic communication. Kira recognized the registration. A diplomatic vessel bearing Ambassador Nex, known for her cunning and absolute loyalty to the Empress. It is a trap. Kira warned the Earth Council the Empress would never seek peace. She sends Nex to buy time while the Imperial fleet approaches. Despite the warning, the Council voted to hear the Ambassador. Earth needed any advantage it could get, including time to prepare. Ambassador Nex arrived at the Council chambers, her elegant form drawing curious stares from the humans present. She bowed with practiced grace. "I bring greetings from Her Imperial Majesty," she began. "The Empress regrets the unfortunate incident at your colony. She was misled by false intelligence. The responsible parties have been punished." She offers reparations and a non-aggression treaty. Kate Foster, sitting beside Kira, watched the ambassador carefully. The offer seemed too convenient, too sudden. The Empress knew exactly what she was doing when she ordered the attack on Hope's landing. Kira interrupted, her compound eyes fixed on Nex. "You carry her treachery now, Ambassador." Nex turned toward Kira, her posture shifting subtly. "I carry the will of our Empress, traitor," she hissed. "You have betrayed your species to these primitives." The Earth Council murmured at this revealing outburst, the true nature of the mission exposed. Earth defense alarms sounded throughout the chamber. "Admiral, we have multiple quantum signatures approaching," a technician reported. "Imperial fleet detected at the edge of the system. Estimated 200 warships." Nex smiled coldly. "You see how foolish you were to trust this traitor," she said to the Council. "The Empress will cleanse this system of your contamination. Your species will be remembered only. As a footnote in Imperial history, Kate stood. I believe this concludes our diplomatic session. She said calmly, "Guards, please escort the ambassador to secure quarters." As Nex was led away, Kate turned to the council. "This is the moment we prepared for. The combined fleet is ready. Our defenses are in place." Kira joined her. "The 17 ships that followed me are not enough to stop the Imperial fleet," she acknowledged. "But we have surprise. We have the QED weapons, and we have courage, the humans, and..." Rebel Zakarians moved with purpose as the defense plan activated. Throughout Earth, orbit platforms powered up their newly installed weapons. Earth's fleet, small, but enhanced with Zakarian technology, moved into defensive positions. The first wave of the Imperial fleet approached, confident in their overwhelming numbers. Their sensors detected the primitive human defenses, the handful of rebel ships. They expected an easy victory. They did not expect what happened next. From behind Earth's moon appeared 50 ships of designs never seen before, their hulls gleaming with crystalline structures, their engines pulsing with exotic energy. "Who are they?" Kate asked, stunned by their sudden appearance. Kira watched in amazement. "The Nerovians," she whispered. "They came during the journey to Earth." Kira had sent messages to other species oppressed by the Empire, offering alliance, offering hope. She had not known if any would answer. The Nerovians had suffered greatly under Zakarian rule. Their worlds stripped of resources, their people subjugated. Now they had come to stand with Earth. More quantum signatures appeared, the Telosians with their living ships. 7 worlds once conquered by the Empire, now risen in rebellion. The Imperial fleet faltered there, neat formation breaking as they confronted not a desperate last stand, but a true alliance of multiple species, in orbit above Earth. Humanity revealed its own surprise. The orbital defense platforms fired in unison, QED weapons enhanced by Zakarian technology. The quantum disruption wave expanded outward, catching the front line of the Imperial fleet. Ships went dark. Shields failed. Weapons died. Then the combined Alliance fleet attacked Nerovian crystal ships, firing energy beams that phased through Zakarian armor, Telosian living vessels absorbing and redirecting Imperial weapons fire. The rebel Zakarian ships targeting the weaknesses they knew all too well, and among them, the ships of Earth. Small, agile. Their hulls now reinforced with hybrid armor. Their weapons combining human ingenuity with alien technology. Kate Foster commanded, the Valiant leading a squadron against the Imperial flagship. The massive vessel dwarfed her ship, but the QED weapons gave them an edge. The flagship's shields fluctuated under repeated strikes aboard her command ship. The Imperial Admiral watched in growing horror as her fleet scattered. The unexpected alliance. The weapons that should not exist. The rebellion spreading before her eyes. The Empress. "We'll have our heads for this failure," she muttered. Kate Foster's voice came through on an open channel. "To the Imperial fleet," she said, "this is Admiral Catherine Foster of Earth. We offer you choice. Surrender, and join those who stand for justice, or retreat and tell your Empress that the days of genocide are over. The species of this sector stand united. We will not be exterminated." Throughout the Imperial fleet, captains faced the same decision that Kira had made days earlier. Loyalty to a corrupt Empress or loyalty to Principal. One by one ships lowered their shields, signaling surrender. Others turned and fled. Some fought on but found themselves isolated, overwhelmed. The battle for Earth became the battle of liberation. The day humanity proved it would not die quietly but would instead forge alliances that changed the galaxy. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Kate Foster stood on the observation deck of the new Alliance command station. The massive structure orbited Earth, a symbol of the unprecedented cooperation between once separate species. Below on the planet, reconstruction of Hope's Landing had begun. A memorial to the 5,000 lost stood at its center, but around it new buildings rose. A combined research facility where humans and Zakarians worked together, Nerovian crystal architecture beside, Telosian organic structures beside human designs. The door slid open and Kira entered. The former Zakarian captain now wore the insignia of the Alliance fleet. Her carapace polished her posture confident. The Empress has fled beyond the galactic rim. Kira reported the Imperial Palace stands empty. The Transitional Council controls 47 systems. Kate nodded. It had been a stunning reversal. The Zakarian Empire that had stood for 2,000 years had collapsed in months, once the rebellion spread the truth of the Empress's crimes exposed. Her corruption revealed systems long oppressed rising in revolt. But not all the news was positive. We lost contact with the Venture expedition. Kira continued referring to the joint mission that had been tracking the Empress. Her voice carried concern. Kate frowned. The Empress remains dangerous, she said, even in exile. The Venture carried our best people, including Carol West. The young pilot who had survived Hope's landing had volunteered for the tracking mission determined to see justice done. Carol West piloted the small scout ship through the unfamiliar star system. The Venture, their main vessel, remained at the system edge, while the scout team investigated strange energy readings. Beside her sat Nima, a Neurovian scientist, her crystalline features catching the light from the control panels. The third member of their team, Zek, a young Zakarian engineer, monitored the sensors. I am detecting unusual quantum fluctuations, Zek reported. The EE pattern is familiar Zakarian technology, but modified. Carol frowned. How modified? Before Zek could answer, a massive shape emerged from behind a small moon. A ship larger than any they had seen before. Its design, Zakarian but twisted, somehow enhanced, with technology from multiple species. The Empress, Carol whispered. Without warning, the massive vessel fired. The scout ship rocked as energy weapons struck its shields. We need to warn the Venture, Carol shouted as she spun the ship around, accelerating, away from the attack. But the communications array exploded under a targeted strike. The small scout was fast, but the Empress's new vessel pursued relentlessly, its weapons far more advanced than standard Imperial technology. Carol pushed the engines. Beyond safety limits, the scout ship shuddering under the strain. We cannot outrun it, Nima said, her crystalline voice calm. Despite the danger, Carol made a quick decision. They must be building something here, she said. Either a weapon or a fleet. We need to gather as much data as possible, then get it back to the Alliance. She executed a dangerous maneuver, diving the scout ship toward the system's inner planets. Sensors scanning frantically for information. What they discovered chilled them to their core. On the second planet, a massive construction facility, thousands of ships being assembled. Unlike anything the Alliance had encountered, hybrid technology combining the worst aspects of multiple species designs. They need to know about this, Zek said. They need to prepare, but escape seemed impossible. The Empress's vessel pursued them, cutting off routes to the system edge where the Venture waited. Unaware of the danger, Carol studied the tactical display, looking for options they had gathered. The intelligence. Now they needed a way to deliver it. I have an idea, she said, but you won't like it. Back on Earth, preparations for the first anniversary of the Alliance continued. Kate Foster, now Admiral of the Combined Fleet, reviewed the security arrangements. The ceremony will include representatives from 27 worlds, she told her staff. The largest gathering of species in known history. Kira nodded her approval. The Alliance had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Species that had been enemies for centuries now worked together. The Zakarian people, freed from the Empress's propaganda, had embraced change. Those responsible for atrocities faced justice. Those who joined the rebellion welcomed as equals. A lieutenant interrupted the meeting. Urgent transmission from the Venture expedition. She reported. Kate and Kira exchanged concerned looks. They had received no communication from the team for weeks. Put it through, Kate ordered. The main screen activated, showing the bridge of the Venture. The captain looked grim. Admiral, we have recovered the scout ship, she reported. It was badly damaged. Only engineer Zek survived. Kira stepped forward. What happened? The Zakarian engineer had been severely injured, but his report was clear and terrifying. The Empress has built something, the captain said. Something unlike anything we have seen before. She displayed the sensor readings the scout ship had gathered. a massive construction facility, hybrid technology ships designed not for conquest, but for extinction. And she has allies, the captain continued. Other extremists from multiple species who believe in her vision of purity, who fear the mixing of cultures and technologies the Alliance represents. Kate studied the data, her expression hardening. The threat they had thought contained was greater than ever. What of Lieutenant West and scientist Nima? Kira asked. The captain hesitated. Engineer Zek reports that Carol West set the scout ship on a collision course with the main power facility. She and Nima used the escape pod to draw away pursuit, allowing Zek to reach the system edge with the data. Did they survive? Kate asked. Though she feared the answer, captured, the captain replied. The Empress has them, in her new throne room. Aboard the massive vessel, the Empress regarded her prisoners. The human female and the Nerovian scientist stood defiant. Despite their situation, "You have caused me considerable inconvenience," the Empress said, her voice cold. "You and your alliance have delayed the inevitable." But only delayed. Carol West stood straight despite her injuries. "I saw what you did to Hope's Landing," she said. "I watched children die. You call yourself advanced, but you're just another tyrant." The Empress laughed, a clicking sound devoid of humor. "Your species is so emotional, so attached to individual lives. You fail to see the larger picture. The galaxy has an order. Zakarians at the apex, lesser species, serving their purpose." The Nerovian scientist Nima stepped forward. "Your order is stagnation," she said. "The Alliance has achieved more in 6 months than your empire did in centuries. Because we combine our strengths, because we learn from each other." The Empress signaled and guards dragged the prisoners away. "Take them to the laboratory," she ordered. "Perhaps they can serve the Empire one final time." The Alliance Council convened an emergency session. The news from the Venture expedition spreading alarm. Kira presented the findings. The Empress has created what she calls the Purification Fleet. She explained ships designed specifically to target the weaknesses of all Alliance species. A weapon that can disrupt the crystalline structure of Nerovians, the neural patterns of Telosians, the atomic bonds of human physiology, and she has found allies. Kate added extremists from a dozen species who fear change, who cling to the old hatreds. The council chamber erupted in fearful discussion, the hard-won unity threatening to fracture under this new threat. Kate raised her hand for silence. "We faced extinction before," she reminded them. "We stood together. Then we will stand together. Now." She turned to the display showing the Empress's new fleet. The ships whose design incorporated twisted versions of all their technologies. "We have something the Empress will never understand," she continued. "Something that makes us stronger than any weapon. Diversity of thought, diversity of approach, the ability to see problems from multiple perspectives." Kate looked around. The chamber at the representatives of 27 worlds. "Once enemies, now allies. We need ideas," she said. "We need innovation. We need to combine our knowledge in ways the Empress cannot anticipate. This is not just humanity's fight, or the Zakarians' fight. This is a fight for a future where we all have a place in the laboratory deep within the Empress's flagship." Carol West watched through her cell door as scientists worked. The Nerovian Nima held in a separate containment field, her crystalline body studied by eager researchers. They're trying to perfect their weapons. Carol realized learning how to destroy each Alliance species more efficiently. She needed to act, but her options seemed limited. The cell was designed to hold prisoners of any species. The guards vigilant. Then she noticed something. The scientists were combining technologies just as the Alliance did, but with a critical difference. They worked in isolation, each focused on their specific task. None seeing the whole, none understanding the interactions. An idea formed in Carol's mind: the Empress's greatest weakness, her inability to truly collaborate, her need to dominate rather than cooperate. Carol began to watch more carefully, memorizing routines, security patterns, the layout of the laboratory. When the time came, she would need this knowledge unearthed. The Alliance prepared. The combined fleet gathering, weapons upgraded, defenses reinforced. But most importantly, minds from every member species working together. To find a solution, Kate Foster and Kira led the effort. The human admiral and the Zakarian rebel who had started it all. We know how the Empress thinks, Kira said. She believes in superiority and dominance. She cannot conceive of true cooperation, Kate nodded, watching as human scientists worked alongside Nerovian crystallographers and Zakarian engineers and Telosian biomechs, each contributing their unique perspective. That will be her downfall, Kate said.